Order. Hello. Hello. It's really funny. I agree. It's our November 10th combined business meeting, work session and business meeting. So we'll be doing voting tonight. We have one meeting in November, so that's the combined meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So we'll have our student representatives. Oh, sorry. It's a good thing I'm done. Never have to tell me that again. Okay. I'm here and I'm out.
Carolyn Riley.
He's still here.
Mrs. Nathan Bridge. Miss Nancy Campbell.
I'm here.
Mrs. Katie Casandino. Here. Mrs. Bridget Riley Fulchip. Here. Miss Nina Russical. Here. Mrs. Lisa Smith. Here. And Mr. Patrick Wicks.
Over.
We have a quorum. Okay, so we'll start with our student representatives.
Hello. I wanted to first mention that the Jenkintown Theater Arts performance is coming up. We're doing Mean Girls on November 20th, 21st, and 22nd at 7:30. And then there's a matinee on the 22nd at 2:30. Tickets for adults are $18 and tickets for students are $7. This show is special because it's all student run. So seniors Alana, Scarlett, Riley, and Chloe and me are directing, choreographing, walking the scenes. We're doing everything. So it's been a pretty special senior year for us. Also, last week, 24 new members were inducted into the World Language Honor Society. They joined the 15 returning members of the society. We look forward to their services in our school and local and national organizations. Also, Student Council ran the Pink Cupcake fundraiser on October 23rd to raise funds for the breathing room. In addition, the Interact Club and Best Buddies Club are joining together to collect food for the breathing room Thanksgiving drive. Each grade level has an item that they can donate, and the boxes are in the main link hallway for students to place items when they arrive to school each day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
The middle school student council held their annual Annoying Orange costume fundraiser. Mr. Ashton was the teacher who got the most money, so he had to wear the costume all day on Halloween. And hopefully he does next year as well. Tomorrow we will have a special Veterans Day assembly for all students in the district. Elementary students and staff will present poems and speeches, as well as share a special video presentation. The high school band and elementary choir will perform as well. It'll be great to honor the heroes who have served our country. The Interact Club is hosting a student and community blood drive in coordination with the American Red Cross on November 24th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the pit gym. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So next we have a student recognition that Mr. Roller will introduce.
Just brought one with me.
Okay.
The rest So we're going to bring high school first. So Eliza Schloth is an outstanding, first of all, student person, but student athlete. And so she represented Jenkintown this year on our girls cross country team. She finished second in the Bicentennial Athletic League Championships, third in the District 1 PIAA Championships at Lehigh University, which we were lucky enough to be up and watch her run at that beautiful setting. And then 29th at Hershey in only her freshman year at the PIAA State Championship. So she has a very bright future in running. I know she's going to try and run this winter and represent Jenkintown as kind of a singleton athlete running distances throughout the winter. And she has a very bright future because I believe those students who were ahead of her may have graduated. So that's what we'll be able to. So if you just take a minute and just be congratulated, that would be wonderful.
My 3 CDOs So congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm happy to introduce Coach Chris Osborne. As many of you know, this was our inaugural year for middle school girls soccer. They had a wonderful season. They did win the Bicentennial Athletic League Middle School Championship in their first year. Chris was assisted by his wife, Bridget. Just a wonderful group of young ladies, or vice versa. I'm sorry.
On paper, that's correct.
All right. You don't want any marital problems. Any problem whatsoever. But just starting to get to know many of our 7th grade students this year in the middle school, high school. They're a wonderful group of young people, have a lot of fun. And I did jokingly tell you that they said they're horrified to come up. So they're going to come up, shake your hand, but they're very excited to hear that we are ordering a banner for the gym for them. So it'll be one of our first middle school banners. It will be great. And some just great recognition that I know that their coaches want to give to them. So you guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
And I will guide this process.
Yes, officially, I, on paper, was the head coach. Bridget did all of the work. I often showed up late from work and kind of closed things out. She handled strategy, everything to do with soccer, majority of the emails. I basically just hung out and talked with the AD. You know what I mean? So real quick, I just want to say, like, thank you guys, honestly. You know, I and a lot of the parents have been really working, trying to push for this for a couple years now. So we're very appreciative. I know if you've been out in the community is really proud. Jenkintown, everybody's been coming up to us, and I keep saying, I know Bridget will agree. We didn't really do anything, honestly, as coaches. They showed up, and like Bridge basically told me, like, just shut up and get out of their way. Like, they're a good team. Just let them do their thing, and they really did. And we're lucky enough to support them. Thank you, Mr. Roller, for being supportive of everything. Aubrey, she did a great job. It was a tough beginning, like brand new team, brand new AD, brand new coaches, everything was new, and she really did a great job. So thank all of you. Thank Aubrey, thank Mr. Roller, and we really appreciate it. And I told the girls, everybody's been asking me, well, what are we going to do when we get to high school? I said, you can ask them. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Congratulations, great season. Congratulations. Go Eagles. Congratulations, great season. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. I'm sorry, careful of the line.
Watch the cords there. Congratulations.
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 We're getting there.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
you're gonna get a stand. Yeah, get a nice picture.
Congratulations. Oh, we're taking a picture. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right,
For a smaller room, that worked out.
it worked out. It's fine.
Really?
All right, thank you. That's a fun way to start the meeting. My last meeting. It's a fun way to start my last meeting.
Who's gonna be Italian?
We know.
Superintendent's report.
Hi, good evening. I have a few updates to share. On November 4th, our staff participated in a workshop called Building Resilience Together, Responding with Awareness, under the leadership of Dr. Ortiz. Through reflection, discussion, practical application, we explored how understanding the brain, emotions, and stress responses can strengthen both our personal well-being as well as our school culture. Thank you to the board for your support with this initiative. We have a number of other sessions that will be happening throughout the course of the year. Also on November 4th, our middle school, high school staff heard from David Fialco, a certified prevention and tobacco treatment specialist who provided some insight on current vaping trends and how we can best support students struggling with addiction. There were some really big revelations in that meeting for staff, so it was helpful. Miss Barrett recently completed a 3-day training to become a certified teen mental health first aid instructor, and she and Mr. Vathiaitis are hopeful to join a future board meeting to share how this program is supporting our students. Red Ribbon Week was held the week of October 27th, but due to inclement weather, we did some tulip planting last week. And although I didn't have a chance to dig any holes, the kids, I think, enjoyed being outside for a little bit. Thank you to Ms. Geary for coordinating this event. This month, students in grades 6, 8, 10, and 12 will participate in the biennial Pennsylvania Youth Survey, the PAYS survey. That's from November 17th to December 1st. This is coordinated by Mr. Roller, and we expect to receive results in late spring. So it might be a late spring presentation or an early fall, September presentation to the board. And we're also partnering with the MCIU to administer a climate survey for students, staff, and families the week of March 9th. The results will help us better understand perceptions of safety and belonging here in Jenkintown. The kids, Anthony and Audrey, they stole some of my thunder so I can delete parts of my presentation. But there was one special thing that was shared with some JEA updates, that Ms. Parisi was a really big help with some of the work that they did with selling the annoying orange costume sales. But importantly too, the money went to the Breathing Room Foundation, Best Buddies, Interacts Thanksgiving Food Drive, and even our middle school, high school Support Our Students SOS Fund. So there was a lot of good things that happened from that. Our special education team is really on the leading edge as the Pennsylvania Department of Education is adding a personal financial literacy course as a graduation requirement for starting next school year. Over the last 2 years, our special education department has offered financial literacy lessons for 10th and 11th grade students in our special education program with skills tailored to their math needs and goals. Thank you to Ms. Flynn for developing this work and for sharing resources that have supported our work in the broader curriculum moving into next school year. This evening, the board is also being asked to approve an affiliation agreement with St. Joseph's University that will allow students in grades 7 to 12 to receive multiple presentations focused on mental health, protective factors, and substance abuse prevention. And I just want to thank Ms. Geary for planning ahead and for helping coordinate the partnership with St. Joe's at no cost to the district. And finally, tonight the board is going to be asked to approve resolutions recognizing the service of Dr. Megan O'Brien, Nathan Bridge, and Bridget Riley Beauchamp. Their leadership, integrity, and commitment to students and our community have been deeply valued, and we extend our gratitude and best wishes as they conclude their service with our district. And in closing, and on a personal note, I'd just like to say thank you for their partnership, leadership, and support during my brief time in the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next we will have the
Dr. Ortiz.
Dr. Ortiz will share a presentation.
All my stuff is up there. Thanks. You're welcome.
Hey, lockers.
Yeah. Not yet. There it goes.
Really?
Did it go? Thank you.
Projector's on now, yeah.
It'll make it a little easier.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope everyone's having a great start to their week. This is our beginning of year data from our Ames Web Assessment for the 2025-2026 school year. And I had this presentation just to kind of give you the pulse of what our data is showing us at the start of the school year. And so wanted to start off by just touching base on what is Ames Web so that we can wrap our minds around this understanding of this assessment. The Ames Web Assessment is a universal screener for both reading and math that a lot of schools across the nation use. It's a reliable and valid assessment to allow us to understand where our students are. We administer it 3 times a year at the start of the school year. We'll do it a second time in January, and then we'll do it a final time at the end of the school year. And this universal screener is one of the gold standard screeners that helps us identify students who are at risk for either reading or math. It allows us to monitor their progress when we tailor instruction to meet their needs. And it also allows us to make decisions with regards to instruction, how we can personalize and differentiate. And we do that across all 3 tiers of instruction. Tier 1 being that every student receives that level of instruction. And then tiers 2 and tiers 3 are specific to student needs. So overall, in terms of our reading composite scores, and I'm very specific to use that verbiage because the Ames Web Assessment has a number of batteries that create the composite score. So the composite score kind of gives us the temperature of the students and the temperature of the grade levels and the temperature of the school. So with that being said, what you see here is a stacked bar graph for K1 that's broken up into K1 and 2-6. And that's because the reading K1 focuses on foundational skills, grades 2 to 6, reading comprehension, because the thought is, the expectation is in 2nd grade, students are reading, and the shift from learning to read to reading to learn happens around grade 2. So with that, in terms of the foundational skills in kindergarten and 1st grade, we have 9% of our students below the benchmark, 42% of the students at benchmark, and 49% of the students above benchmark, which is really good data to start the school.
Can I just ask you a clarity question off the bat? When you say benchmark, are you talking about where you would expect them to be at that moment, or you would expect them to be at the end of the school year?
At that moment.
At that moment, okay. I just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yes, and so in 2nd to 6th grade, we have 12% of the students starting the school year below benchmark, 42 at benchmark, and 46 above. In terms of our math composite scores, again, similar to the makeup of reading, a number of batteries, 1-minute probes make up the composite score for math. And what we see, similar separation with regards to K1 and 2 to 6, focusing on early numeracy skills versus more concepts and applications in grades 2 to 6. In K1, we have 21% of the students starting this school year below benchmark, 56% at the benchmark, 23% above. And then in grades 2 to 6, 18% below benchmark, 41% at benchmark, and then 41% above. So Strengths. Reading data looks very, very strong in terms of our K-6 continuum. I want to give a shout out to the faculty and staff. I want to acknowledge the leadership of Dr. Yankee prior to my time here. Their implementation of bookworms has been successful to this point. And it's incumbent upon myself and the rest of the staff to continue to carry that baton moving forward so that we can solidify those foundational skills in K1 and continue to build on the comprehension skills in grades 2 to 6. And also continue to provide solid tier 2 and tier 3 supports as needed. Areas of focus, math, specifically tier 1, because we have a larger population of students that are below the benchmark. And when you have certain numbers that high, 21% and 18%, we need to look at tier 1 instruction, because tier 1 instruction all students receive. And so if we're only going to focus on tier 2 and tier 3, the cliche is you can't intervene your way out of a tier 1 problem. So the conversations we're having to really maximize the instructional master schedule, instructional minutes, particularly for math, because reading is on an upward trajectory, that's going to be an area of focus moving forward. So how are we going to respond? Well, we're going to continue to leverage the 30-minute intervention periods for WIN, for reading groups, to provide tier 2 and tier 3, 3 days a week, math groups 2 days a week. We only have 5 days a week. So progress monitor, weekly checks for growth so that we can gauge the impact of our instruction. And I always use those words intentionally because our instruction needs to change, not the students. In terms of professional learning and collaboration, just this past election day in the afternoon, we as an elementary staff worked on having collaborative conversations, unpacking Amplify, the new math curriculum. First met with the leadership team to discuss this possibility. JES has a leadership team that is represented by all grade bands and departments, and to collaboratively decide how can we best leverage this time that we have on November 4th in the afternoon. We had a round table with regards to Amplify resources, digging into those resources, tapping into the expertise of the faculty and staff, while at the same time, I got to spend some time with Amplify myself to really broaden my perspective and then share that out and be part of that conversation with the level of intentionality as the instructional leader of JES. So we had time for them to dive deeper, collaboratively plan horizontally and vertically, because we know grades 5 and 6 were departmentalized. So I encourage our content area teachers, the LA math, to plan vertically so that there's alignment across the grades up and down. So next steps, we'll continue to move forward with what I just explained and what we are doing together. The winter benchmark will happen in January. We'll continue to analyze our strengths, identify areas of growth, always celebrate the small wins along the way. We'll continue to have our grade level meetings to review data, and we'll make instructional adjustments. And then in the spring, at the end of the school year, we'll administer the third benchmark, celebrate growth that we've made. And in closing, while this data does provide a snapshot, I just want to convey that our teachers are using this information to make learning more responsive and intentional. The real story is what takes place in the classroom. I am blessed to get to see that every single day. The teachers are ensuring that children grow from wherever they start when they come here in September. And I want to say thank you for your continued support and answer any questions you might have.
Yeah. Thank you for this. This is great data to have. My question is, have you yet had a chance to compare where our students are with other districts in Montgomery County and or statewide?
I am not.
I have a couple questions. One is about the amplified data as compared to the PSSA data. Does that seem to track? If we have 9% like below benchmark, is that,
Yeah.
you know, is that basically below basic or whatever and like proficient, whatever?
So this is Ames Web, which is different than Amplify. So Amplify is the math program,
Yeah.
okay, which has its own data set that we do use.
Okay.
Ames Web is reading and math, nationally normed, reliable, valid assessment, so that we know that the data it's giving us, it's data that we can feel really good about, and that we know it's sound. The Amplify curriculum has curriculum-based measures that we also use to triangulate when we have students that emerge as potentially being seen by the Ames Web batteries of assessment as being at risk. All right, well, let's see how they look when we're assessing them with the Amplify piece and reading with the bookworms curriculum-based measures. We have other data points that we truly do triangulate with 3 data points to really get a picture of students and their needs. And then with students in grades 4, 5, and 6, we have the historical data with PSSA. So while I have not had that opportunity to do just that, PSSA scores are out, but there's also projection scores with regards to what do they project to score on the next one from grades 4 through 6. That informs our decision making, and also with regards to how did they perform in last year's to what they're looking at now. That's another part of the process that we can continue to unpack. But we haven't done that yet.
One last question. Somebody was telling me that Ames Web is really good, and it seemed like you had this at the beginning of your presentation. It's super good at identifying kids that are at risk, but maybe it's not great for like kids who maybe like don't have growth because they started off really high. But I'm just saying, you did mention the use of differentiation. Is there a way to use this data to make sure that even if you start, above whatever the benchmark, then you do still continue to show growth over the course of the year?
So the first question I was asked was, is this data based off of the end of year, kind of like where students should be? And this will scale. So students who might be in the blue, just to kind of simplify it, it's been my experience that sometimes they go into the green. And so then we as educators need to unpack why that's happening. So yes, we do gauge even the students who are coming in above benchmark, and they need to show growth as well. And so these metrics, also these data platforms also provide us that level of growth projection, and if they're meeting that or not. I'm simply giving you the composite scores. I mean, we could really get deep into the nitty gritty, but this platform here is the composite score, kind of gives you that 30,000-foot view. We look into it like really deep and diagnostically. Yeah.
Is it accurate to say that the data that's captured here is learning that happened not in the past few months, but most likely over the past year or so?
Yes.
So what we see here is in the reading data, this could give us greater insight about the efficacy of the Bookworks program.
Yep.
It's not good enough to it's not quite giving us data on Amplify yet.
It is not. It's not. So this data highlights the work of the Bookworms implementation, the leadership of Dr. Yonke doing that, the efforts of the teachers, the systems work with regards to MTSS and providing tier 2 and tier 3 supports for reading. Now we need to replicate that for math and continue that growth for reading at the same time.
Although those numbers weren't what we might have hoped to see, it is sort of validation that moving away from everyday math had evidence for that move.
Yeah.
Sort of, I think, piggyback question on you. Last fall, about this time, we had the prior spring gotten the Ames Web data. I think was their first year, and it was being presented by Dr. Yonke, and there was one grade level that got a whole everybody was at grade level or above, so a total green triangle, but it was our first year. And so at the same time, they were getting end of the year, that was like spring benchmarks for England. And then they had the PSSA, and we asked that following fall to kind of look, did those sort of align? And in that group that was all green, they were not all, you know, at the state level at benchmark or above. And so your interventions are tiered based on AIMSweb, but is there consideration of kids that maybe are in two different? Do you know what I mean? Like somebody could be below basic, but in AIMSweb, they're where they're supposed to be. How do you navigate that?
So if I'm understanding this correctly, what I'm hearing is that with regards to comparing AIMSweb data to PSSA data.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would only be relevant for students in grades 3 through 6, not students K through 2. So, and if you're reading, math, both, like
I think the triangle was green because we were only doing
green for which
for
content?
ELA.
Oh, ELA, okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the first year we only
Yep.
had.
So that's my jam, ELA. So with regards to AIMSweb, we have to understand the assessments. This assessment, the AIMSweb piece, is designed to be efficient, to give us data quickly, because we're assessing hundreds of kids in a short amount of time, so that we as educators aren't spending countless days or weeks assessing. When we do PSSA, it's been my experience, school gets like shut down. Those grade levels, like it is like they take that test, there's test anxiety, we're keeping it light for them for the most part that day, those days. It's weeks of assessments. And depending on what grade, it could be up to 3 weeks. And it used to be 3 weeks until recently when they condensed the days down. And now we do math and science in 1 week. So it really is 2 weeks unless you're out sick and you have to do makeups and whatnot. That assessment is set up to capture data in a more, just in a different way.
Yeah.
And so the AIMSweb piece, while it gauges the temperature, then if there is something lukewarm about it, we need to dig deeper. And I've always kind of framed it in the way of like when we go see the doctor, we get the temperature of the student academically, and then we kind of like, all right, we need to be diagnostic and really peel back the layers as to why there's something here. Is there something here? And while this test is reliable and valid, other data points will help us determine whether or not a student is struggling. And I will say there's a timed element to these assessments, which adds another level of consideration for us. And that leads to a conversation that I've had with educators in my previous buildings and some here about the difference between understanding the content and having a mastery of the content.
If I could, first of all, thank you. I mean, I think the evolution of data that's shared at these meetings and us over the last several years is been amazing. So this is awesome. The two things I just, to piggyback off of what Nate was saying, and I just like to remind, keep me honest on this, the community is one, Amplify's brand new curriculum approved for exactly this reason. And we saw the need, the administrative team saw the need, presented the case to us. And so I think that's not shocking. The second thing really is the sample size of the district and to keep in mind,
Yes.
right? This in many other districts is a one building assessment. And while we will see great variation class to class, it has more to do with, and I love what you said, which it's up for us to meet the student, not the student to meet us. And because I think that's so true here, and just a caution whenever we see any of the data, that the class makeups vary so greatly year to year, and the number of students is so small that we need to be very careful. And you guys are doing a great job not to jump to too many conclusions based on kind of just the high level data year to year. Because we've historically, over the last 10 years that I've been here, seen this go like this, and it often isn't curriculum changes or anything other than we have different students with different needs coming in and out. So.
And one or two students can flip
Yeah.
a percentage here where it doesn't do that in other larger districts.
Yeah, but this is good. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
But that's, to your point, Pat, I think that's why we really appreciated the bookwork presentation, the
Yeah.
bookworms discussion so much, is because the expertise of the teacher really trumps a lot of this in that
Mhm.
regard. Like they're the folks that are seeing what learning looks like, they have a really great sense of whether or not it's working for their students. I think that's where I think in a space like Jenkintown, it's not just the numbers, it's those conversations as well.
But thank you.
So much on that question. So Amplify this year was supposed to be a pilot, right? Pilot
Right.
project. So does any of this data, do you think any of this data could be helpful in assessing whether or not Amplify is successful as a pilot project?
Someone had asked, this data captures what students are coming into the district as.
Right.
So they really weren't exposed
Right.
to Amplify
What
it.
you're doing in January.
Yeah, that's when we can start making having more of those conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, with regards to its impact. And, but it's well known within the education space, or maybe even beyond with that. When you implement anything in its first year, there's going to be some level of an implementation dip, right? So that needs to be expected. And gauging teachers' perspective, their lived experience with the curriculum is going to be really important. We have experienced growing pains. I'm going to acknowledge that. But the roundtable and time that we had in the afternoon on November 4th, I found it very refreshing because meeting informally with teachers and then formally with the team leaders, there's a lot of expertise here. And unpacking the data, unpacking the online platform, which is a strength for some and maybe not quite so up for others. You go on the platform, it can be overwhelming. There's so many options, resources. Where did I just click? How did I get here? Bless you. And it's like some need a little bit more time to really acclimate themselves with that. And with that, that's going to impact instruction one way or another.
Because there's learning curve in two places.
Yeah.
Bingo. And so there are so many resources there that we can leverage. We just needed the time, and we still need more time. And I'm going to work with Amplify to get more professional development that we have, that we are able to have. It's just, when are we going to do that? And November 4th was a great time to do that for us, and we were able to dive deep and unpack it. And I would like to believe the teachers would agree they found that time very useful, beneficial, and we're going to continue to do that and be intentional with that. Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you,
This is
everyone.
Great. Okay, so the next topic is comments from members of the public and staff on agenda items only. I'll ask you to state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. This is a time for you to address the board. This isn't a time for a discussion with the audience.
Bob Cole at 4 Linden Street. Same questions I've been asking for months. And I don't know if this is on the agenda or not, but we kind of threw that out a couple months ago. What's happening with the superintendent's contract? Is she coming back? Are we continuing to pay her through the rest of it? All of that. Same question. Thank you.
It's hot, Tom.
It's more.
It's warm. Seeing no other comments, I will close the first comment section. I have no update on the superintendent. Okay, so we'll move to,
So we're just continuing.
we've closed the comment section. Thank you. So we've moved to approval of minutes. Items 3.1 through 3.3. Can I have a motion to accept? Oh, do we have a motion to accept items 3.1 to 3.3? I'll have to stop the meeting if there's going to be yelling in the, back there. Okay, thank you. Items 3.1 to 3.3, do I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, so we have items
the finance and operations summaries. Are the any of these, Lou, do you want to give us a little bit of a, because this is our work session and our voting session?
So we have all of the bills.
And you speak up, so yeah, it's okay.
All of the bills report, the tax collector report are attached. This month, we did not receive the real estate transfer tax on time, so that is not attached. That goes the same for our cafeteria operations report. The reports are due the 10th of the month, so that's the reason why we did not receive it. We'd like to go down to the donations. I'd like to thank Mr. Glenn Morris for his donation every month. And we have received gift cards from Acme. We received 120 gift cards, $25 each, from Acme. It's through their foundation program. And we would like to use it for, to give it to students who are economic disadvantaged for now.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Acme.
Do we want to just talk about the resolution about the budget impasse?
Is that, yeah, it's there.
That's item 4.14.
So we are asking the board to adopt a resolution because of our state budget impasse. It's been 133 days since the budget impasse. And with this resolution, we're urging the General Assembly to pass a complete and responsible state budget immediately. This includes funds to the public education, including basic, special, and career technical education. It also includes all of the appropriated federal funds that are owed to the district. And then we also are requesting that the interest and fees accrued due to the borrowing bill of the budget. The impasse is also repaid to the district. We are requesting to have a meaningful cyber charter funding reform by establishing a uniform statewide tuition rate for students attending cyber charter school. And we want to demonstrate bipartisan cooperation and leadership in the interest of Pennsylvania students and community.
And Lou shared with us earlier during the finance committee that some school districts have kind of announced publicly that they would have to cease operations by a certain time if there's no budget passed. She shared that there was one school district in particular, there was a news article about it, that have to cease operations in January. Lou shared that because the majority of our budget comes from the local effort, that we would be okay through about March, at which point we would have to potentially delay some payments, but we'd still be able to, kind of maintain operations, but would not be able to pay for everything. And by May, we would be in more trouble. So everybody should encourage the state to pass that budget. And the other thing I think that's important is that in the resolution, the revenue that we bring in and some of the money that comes from the state, we have it in an interest-bearing account. So we're losing that interest that would kind of go back into our general fund, and we could use it for, for our budget needs. $1 million. Yeah, so far we should have been paid about $1 million by the state that we haven't been. So it's not a great situation, but we're okay for now. So we'll pass this resolution. I mean, we'll vote on this resolution. We may or may not. I don't know if we'll pass it. But it's just, Lou is paying attention to it closely and talking to the other school districts about what they're doing. But, it's an unfortunate situation right now.
Yeah, reach out to our local state reps, state senators.
And talk to friends in areas where their representatives might not be as education friendly as ours are. I mean, ours are definitely trying to get the budget on track. So, if you have friends and relations in less budget minded areas of the state, talk to them, explain what this is doing to school districts across the state.
And I think if you reach out to ours, it may be important more from the perspective of how can I help other areas of the state, because I'm sure it's communications and community involvement. Because like Bridget said, they are well aware and our members are cooperative. So
The new system?
I think we're getting a little air conditioning.
We're getting the air conditioning. It got so hot in here. All right. So do I have anything else about that? Yes,
I
go ahead.
just ask that we take 413 separately. I'll have to recuse myself. I'm just involved with an organization.
Okay.
And my wife is.
We can just, you can, as long as you're noting that you're recusing yourself.
From that one. Okay. All right. So I have a motion to accept items 4.1 through 4.14.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Stop reading like this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
If I could just hold my phone.
Abstentions from
Abstention
4.13. Okay. Abstention. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, so item 5.1, approval of Soliant Health. Did you want to say?
Jenkintown is in search of a occupational therapist, and we are exhausting multiple staffing agencies in order to do so. This is an effort for just that.
Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept item 5.1? Any discussion? All those in favor? Any abstentions?
I was just gonna thank you, Steve, for working so hard on this because I know it's been a challenge.
Yep.
So I just wanted to publicly say that we've needed to pivot a couple of times, and we appreciate your efforts in maintaining the services as quickly as possible every time you've needed to pivot.
Thank you. Well, Michelle Glennon's been amazing, and Justin has had to review a lot of affiliation agreements. So,
Okay, so, yes, thank you. Wait, do we have passed that? All those in favor? Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item 7.1, the St. Joseph's University. This is
I
what you-
shared that
you
in my
shared in your
update.
upgrade. Okay.
Mhm. It's grades 7 to 12 will receive two presentations each from certified individuals to discuss good stuff.
Was that the presentation that was sent out to the community about the vaping and stuff?
No, that was
different. That's
to the staff.
That's your staff. Okay.
This was a grant that St. Joseph's received, and they're able to offer this to districts with.
Okay. Great. That presentation was outstanding, by the way. If
Yes.
any parents who haven't seen it, I mean, I count myself as someone who reads a lot and pays attention to chemicals, but that blew me away. So everybody look at it because it's scary. Okay, so item 7.1. Do I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so the next is 8.1 and 8.2, the personnel report and the resolutions of appreciation were the things that you talked about for your outgoing school board members. Anything on the personnel report that you want to mention? No.
Can I just add thank you
Thank you.
to Megan?
Thank you.
Yeah.
To Nate,
Yes.
all three of you, you will be sorely missed. Look forward to the incoming members as well, but thanks.
No, thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Megan, particularly your leadership and patience and unflusteredness under pressure. Because everybody can't do that. And that's a developed skill, and we're very thankful that you did it.
No, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve this community. And I thank this board. You've been amazing to work with. I thank the administration, the community. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's over.
I just want to say that we have little gifts for you. These are completely budget-free gifts. They were just by a Jenkintown graduate. So thank you, Ben Spector, class of 2023.
Oh, they're pretty.
Produced by another graduate, class of 2024. Try and guess which one.
But thank you. I love it. Thank you.
They are 3D printed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They're 3D printed.
That's clever.
Nina, you want to talk a little more?
So,
Nina,
were they printed here?
tell them a little more about the bells.
They're print-
There's the Jamestown bells and they're your
Yeah.
colors.
And they're 3D printed.
Oh, yeah, I
Were-
can see some cool ones.
Were they printed here at the school?
No, they're-
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, good. Good. Thank you.
I'm in Florida.
In Florida. Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I just want to mention on the personnel report, the curriculum writing for the theater class. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of our general music program that Miss Davidson's been working on, and that is prepped and ready to go to UPenn for review.
Oh, awesome.
Great. All right. So do I have a motion to accept items 8.1 and 8.2?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. No policies. We got.
Thank you, Justin.
Oh, so-
That is your party.
Thank you.
My party
Thank you.
gift to the.
Thank you, Justin. I also will say I appreciated working with Justin. Okay, maintenance report. Anything you want to tell us? Any questions for Mike, Mr. Nickerson? Maintenance report? That's information. All right, so in old business, we have 2 items for discussion. I think we had at our last meeting, we had a Legacy Park presentation about a reduced scope of work, and there were some board questions. I think these are primarily for Mr. Nickerson and Mr. Campana. So I don't know if do you want to say anything? I don't know how we want to set up this discussion.
The team is here,
Okay.
and I guess if we want to maybe have them come forward, but just to frame questions and begin a dialogue.
I guess, is it possible to give us a status? I think we've seen kind of the vision for the future playground. I guess, would it be possible for you, Mr. Campana, to give us a status of the land and like where we are with that part? Would that be possible?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Joe Campana. I'm with Eustis Engineers. So the status right now, we met earlier today. We've been talking about budget, reduced scope, and you saw the presentation last time. We're going to try to continue moving forward with that. For the next December meeting, we're trying to get approval for Eustis's new proposal with the reduced scope and the reduced fee. We're able to reduce our fee by $32,000, so that's helpful. We need to get Play by Design, which is the playground consultant, on board so that we can continue our work and that Eustis can move forward with their work as well. The feasibility study, a draft was submitted by myself on Friday. We're going to review that a little bit more thoroughly and revise it and make sure it's very thorough and easily understood by the board for the meeting on December 15th.
I guess one question, do we have an understanding? I guess and I guess for the community that's not aware, is there's a plan to build a large playground structure kind of in the corner of the field where there currently is the backstop. Is that what it's called?
Correct.
Backstop. And where the current playground is, or the current castle, would come down and there would be other structures there. Do we have a sense of like if we can build in that's okay based on what's underneath the ground?
Based on our initial assessment and assessment as we've been moving forward and do the first phase, everything has been approved from a feasibility standpoint, from a permitting standpoint, from a stormwater management standpoint. We still have to do further investigation as we move into construction documentation, but on an initial review through the phase one scope of work, everything has been approved from our civil engineers, landscape architects to move forward into the next phase.
And then what, when would we have to kind of send these things out to bid for those construction?
We are working on that schedule. I have a preliminary schedule, which we want to get everything out to bid by March at the latest in order to have a 6-week time frame for potential bidders to come in, get a good bid from, I'm guessing, at least 3 bidders, so that we have a good construction process.
Okay. And Mr. Nickerson, you're on board with all that? You're like, this is all, okay. Did you have any comments? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with it. What we're gonna end up doing once the board, the board meetings are set for 2026, we'll kind of look at where they line up and kind of work backwards to give like when, we should start that 3-week advertising process. So, yeah, we're certainly shooting for March at the latest. Early February would be great, but it's really going to depend on how quickly Play by Design and Eustace can kind of get together.
Okay.
So that right now is the sticking point.
Okay.
Is getting Play by Design back under contract.
Yep. Okay.
Which is a question, Mr. Nickerson. Do we have any concerns, or do we have a plan, or maybe it's an overall plan for kind of security monitoring when we move it to the far side of the building? It's just something I was thinking about. I think one, and
Can we talk about? I mean,
Well, can we ask the questions, and then if you guys, if they're relevant to you guys, I mean, part of this is the district has to have their plan. I know, but this.
No,
As far as I know, and again, they could
Yeah, they could come up.
I believe that was removed from the scope because they needed to reduce the scope from the 5.5 million down to
So what was removed?
So, yeah, well,
security upgrade measures.
So in order to, thank you. So the digging up of the field was what was going to allow us to run the conduit to the far corners of the field to install new security cameras. But because we're no longer touching the main field, we won't be digging it, because if we were to disturb a certain amount of square footage, that puts us in a new bracket with the county that involves a 9-month review and bidding process. So I have brought it up to Mr. Van Matter about whether or not we can maybe get a boost for a Wi-Fi type security camera to go there, but the onus of having to upgrade that bit of the security does fall to the district.
Yeah. So I think that's an important consideration, kind of as we get this construction documents together, right? I mean, what's the liability and kind of the risk tolerance?
There isn't actually like cameras that reach all parts of the playground as it is. So it's something that I think as a district should be looked at, but it isn't new spaces that are not being supervised. It's just a reorientation of the same areas.
Yeah, so I think that's what I want to understand, kind of even comparison. And then just the second thing is, before we get to that bid process, and you guys have done an awesome job fundraising, getting it all there. I do want to make sure we have viable plans that can be covered by what we've raised up to that point. And so, you guys know much more about this than I do, and I rely on all of y'all that have spent a lot of time. My only concern as a community and board member is, do we have the funds to cover the costs? And I want to make sure before we go to bid, we do, because there's a liability that the district will hold if we're not prepared.
We have a really good cost estimating team on board too. That's part of the first phase and the second phase. And throughout the entire process, the design process and documentation process, we're always looking at BE efforts too, just to make sure that we can accommodate the budget. So we'll be doing that throughout.
And Mr. Nickerson also let us know that it's not unusual in bid process that we can kind of put a little bit of leeway of, if we have this, then we'll do this element, but if we aren't there, so it can be written. Correct. Yes. So, just because we're saying we want it now and hoping that the funding gets there, we would not put anything we wouldn't implement any element of this that we don't have the cost to cover. Our goal is to be at the 1.5 by the end of this year. That's really going to depend on the community and the businesses, just because of that's what we're up against as far as fundraising. But no, we would never be bidding out things that we're not going to write a check that our, you know what, can't cash.
I know. And I'll tell you, I mean, that was and it hasn't been frequent. Any concerned emails that I've gotten about this have just revolved around that. So I think it's important so that the community understands
The urgency with which we need these funds.
The urgency with which we need the funds, but then also that we're not just moving because we're not gonna move unless we have the funds to cover it. And
But it is important to get everything documented and permitted.
Yeah.
Not implemented if we don't.
No, there's a at risk, we can do certain things. I mean, I'm not, but we can do all the planning, but once we, start saying, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and this is what we're gonna pay you for, we just have to make sure the money is in place.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's an ambitious goal, but you have that goal to the end of the year, but it also seems like we have then a couple months but
our goal is that we would be in by the end of the year. We're hoping that through the holiday season,
Yeah.
Giving Tuesday, that those initiatives will help us get where we want to go. We actually have crossed over the $1 million mark.
Yep.
And so we do feel confident that we can get the extra before the end of the year. If not, we do actually have until about May, because that's when
That would be the
construction
goal,
would
that
begin.
before construction, we have all funds in hand.
But if your budget gets passed.
We've already submitted that.
Yeah, there's grant. No, yeah, there's.
Depends on the budget being.
Yeah.
passed. So, those are still hanging out there that we won't know about until that.
not our budget, to be clear.
No.
Yeah, that.
Submit our budget last
When you talk about security, like security cameras, or like when you're looking out at recess at the children.
So it's what I'd like to be assured of is that we are confident we will have the same level of security when we do the cast or the showstopper, the structure, thank you, that we have today. So I don't know, I mean, I'm not a security expert, and only because I think that is a liability that the district we've been comfortable with, and I want to make sure we continue to.
We actually feel that by moving the showstopper, it will be safer than our current layout, with the castle being around the corner and tucked away. Even just the structure itself and the way that it was built, it allows for a lot of
Line of sight.
is compromised. So by moving the showstopper to the farthest corner, families that are there enjoying the park, they can see both the top lot, the main showstopper, and also because there will not be an impeding structure where the current castle was, it's the landslides into swings. It's open visual. So if you are sitting at the showstopper, or if you are up at the current kindergarten playground, you have complete line of sight all the way around. So you can see many different age groups in many different areas from many vantage points. Whereas now, to see the castle, you have to be on top of it. Kindergarten classrooms don't even let the kindergartners go down there. They keep them up top because they cannot see them.
Or were you asking about security
Well,
during the
both.
day or at
So
night?
both, because, I mean, and I have no doubt my friends at Beaver Hill, where I lived when I first moved here, will keep an eye on
Everything.
across the street from their building. But it's also kind of the after hours activity, which we've all found vapes and beer cans at some point.
Yes.
And so I
People
do
say
wanna
the middle
make-
school and high school don't use the playground, but we know they're there.
I want to be sure that as a district, because it does sit on our property, that we're comfortable with that potential risk.
I don't know if that changes.
It might not, and that's okay. I mean,
Right.
and
But I
again,
do think also the structure itself, and we're still, designing that with the Play by Design folks, but it's supposed to be more open than the castle currently is.
Good.
So that
That's good.
You can
there
see.
aren't, enticing places for people to.
And in the master plan, along where any of the walkways where we had planned to integrate lighting so that it would be more lit at night, so that passerbys or even the police would have a better vantage point looking in from the street. We won't be able to do some of that with this first iteration. But it's things that we can earmark for future use.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
So I was just looking at the Eustis report and there is like cost for regrading. For instance, like going from the slides to that blacktop, and we kind of all know if we've had kids there that that blacktop retains water. Is that being addressed or?
Stormwater is being designed for and taken into account so that we just look at the capacity in relationship to the new impervious that's going to be proposed. And then we just gotta make sure that we're working with the borough and the borough's engineer to make sure that the sizing is accurate for that.
And then, during the survey that you all, presented, and this has been a wonderful job and a heavy lift. The maintenance was a big issue. And the new phase 1 plan, the modified, is there a change in the wood chips or, and if so, what is the longevity of the new not wood chip surface? We know what wood chips cost us to replace annually. I'm just interested in knowing what the cost is and what is the longevity of any new services put in.
I would say that'd be an adult on the construction documents. You guys can speak to that a little bit more, but I would have that be an alternate, so they would cost, the contracts would cost it out in the bidding process. And they would have I'd have specifications for that to make sure that it's of a high quality level. And they'd have to prove to me that it would be long lasting material.
Right, but I want more than what
Yes.
is long lasting.
So we're looking to go with Corkine. That's the material that we've selected in, talks with Play by Design. Obviously, our contract to move to the next step with Play by Design, where we're actually selecting all of these things, hasn't taken place yet. We're waiting for approvals to go through that. But everything that we're choosing is something that's in that higher tier as far as sustainability and longevity. So the materials for the structure, the showstopper itself will be composite. Those have a much longer lifespan than anything that would be wood. There may still be areas that are wood chipped in the interim from when the castle comes down until new surfacing goes in. There may be areas along pathways that wood chips may still need to be, because if it's an area that we're not addressing, it's going to stay what it was. Only the areas that we are addressing are going to be Corkine, and we're going to be utilizing that in the fall radiuses. So around any new structures is where that will go.
And then if you could, once that's all hashed out, if you could have like the cork structure has a warranty of 10 years, or if it's 5 years, that would be something that we
Absolutely.
physically
Yes.
have
That's
to
something-
measure
right.
in our decision making.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But we can't get to that stage with Play by Design until that gets, you know what I mean? We're kind of at this point where they won't provide us any more information until we bring them in on the contract.
So go ahead.
And then, probably 12-ish years ago, the whole Florence Ave field
Yeah.
was closed down. There was a big issue with drainage. ADP was on our back about how is that factored into this development?
We are going to use the current storm system as much as possible, A, to save money, B, if it works, the new implementation of the storm water management system. If it's working, great. If it needs to be enhanced based on the calculations that we provide, based on impervious calculations and working again with the borough's engineer, then we might have to enhance things. We're going to try as much as possible not to, because we don't want to put the money underground, as go put it above ground. So,
Yeah. Well, I think that's what, just to kind of summarize, I don't want to speak for everybody, but very supportive of all this, very much appreciative. My concern is always the boring stuff. It's the
Yes.
maintenance, it's stormwater management, everything else I think is awesome. It looks great. My kids will love it. Kids are gonna love it, but like, that's where, when we get to that next point, I'm hoping we can, it's a lot of good information. You guys gave us a lot of information, but it's boring stuff that matters.
And I do want to assure you that we have not
I
been
know.
dealing with those as well. So those are all going in. I mean, we've been talking about the water since early days with this. Some of those we've investigated, some of the watershed folks, if we could get a state budget passed, they've told us lock and key.
They
Or
came out
basically,
and they walked the site with us. So the watershed people that like do this stuff, their
That's good.
job, they came out and they walked the whole site and said like, this is where, like we are saying, this is where pooling is, and they gave us the information.
Yeah.
And
We
some of
didn't
the drains
have the
that are there-
drainage, but we never got the drainage plans. So those plans that you're talking about, we could never get the plans with where those were actually.
yeah, some of them are abandoned or non-functional, that were put in on that Florence corner anyway. So they just kind of collect
We have to meet.
But you have them, you have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the
Yeah.
plans. Yeah, yeah.
We did the ground penetrating. Yes, they might not meet current code requirements. We have to make sure that they do. The system has to work. So as far as maintenance is concerned.
But it's on our radar. We're not just doing the fun. I know you know
No,
this,
no,
but
no,
like,
I-
we are all
Listen, I don't want you to
encompassing.
misinterpret my.
No, I'm not.
my
I don't want the
rapid fire
community
questions
to-
as not being supportive. I
Yes.
just like, I want to make sure we're making really good progress. It seems like we're gonna continue to make really good progress. And what I want to avoid is us getting to February and then we say, hey, where is this? And so I think that's the stuff at this point. This is the community, and I want to see this too. I don't know if that's an example. But I think for me, that's the important stuff.
And
We will
that's
have-
step 2 of
Yes.
Daryl. So
Yeah.
after the
Perfect.
vote on the 15th of December, then he can provide you with the more detailed
So-
nitty gritty of that bit of it. So we're up against that next step. We're excited for it and ready. But we'll take that step in December and hopefully we can get Play by Design ahead of that so that as soon as he's approved for his next step, Play by Design will be handed right to him and they can work in cohesion with one another.
I can give you the 50-page calculations if you like.
Not yet. I might like.
So it's my understanding that the next step at the December meeting would be the approval of moving on with Play by Design, which is to the tune of $24,300, which was outlined on the April 28th meeting last school year. So that document is still in board docs and it kind of laid out each of the different phases. And so that next phase opens the door for Daryl to have those conversations with them regarding the next phase. That is what is I guess like the crux of it in terms of getting to the next phase of construction documents and trying to meet the deadlines for bidding and everything else.
That's
But
not my understanding. What we talked about earlier was that they really need Daryl to go to construction back. Like that's where we're gonna vote on in December was Daryl comes the next stage for construction.
Yeah, Daryl.
We can't do that. Right, but Play by Design has to happen ahead of the December. We're hopeful that we can have an agreement of how to proceed with Play by Design.
for the vote for Daryl on December
My
15th.
proposal, my updated proposal for the reduced scope needs to be approved at the December 5th meeting.
Correct.
Okay,
Play by
I'm sorry.
Design, we would like to have that potentially.
Daryl can't get us the first 2 deliverables without information from Play by Design.
Is that, do we have a contract with
Yes.
Play, we have the contract, but we have the contract with Play by Design that we signed
That was
last
just for
year.
the design day.
That was for design day.
But we have a contract with Eustis for the phase 1 deliverables with a
But
not to
Play by
exceed.
Design is, sorry if I'm, Play by Design is like, we'll take the actual design and be like, this is the slide, like, and work with you all,
Yeah.
correct? And to be like,
Yes.
this is what you want it to look like, this is the actual product.
These are the
So I think that's
footings.
like where we're getting like caught up.
Yeah.
We don't have the actual product. So we need them first to work together.
And they're not going to mitigate any of the selections with us until they are you wouldn't work for free either. So we're at the point where they came and they did the design day. That gave us the overall inspirations moving forward and soft design. What we need now, because Legacy is responsible for the design, is we need the permission to then engage Play by Design for the next step, that $24,000. We have the funds to cover that. It is not anything that would be in competition with what Daryl is doing. If anything, by procuring that design and moving forward with Play by Design, it would bolster his ability to present on the 15th.
So that's that's Play by Design is $24,000. And then Daryl is TBD based on that, or 13,000 less than.
Yeah, my proposal already was sent. I reduced our cost by 32,000 for the next phase.
So could we vote on could we
We
vote
can't vote on
on?
anything tonight because it wasn't on the.
It wasn't on the agenda.
item.
Well, that's
So
our
we can-
question. We're wondering if it needs to be voted on because the money is in with JEF.
But the contract's with the
Just so we're
district.
clear,
The contract is not with the district.
there is, no, just, I want to be clear. The district has a design contract with Eustis Engineering.
Correct, but not with Play by Design. Play by Design currently
But-
is written and that contract that it would be with the community board.
I'm not going to recommend, and this is the board can decide this. If somebody is designing something for this district that it is going to ultimately be liable for,
the contract should be under, frankly, it should probably be under Eustis because that's, I mean, that was actually the way the RFP was designed, was that you would engage Play by Design. But the issue is if some other party designs this and we do not have privity with them and somebody gets injured because of an accident on that, our ability to claim against the designer is limited by the lack of contractual.
They certify this design once it's built, and then it will be used by, they would give us the construction documents for the design that Eustis would then vet and then use to make their construction documents. It's
Yeah, let me make it a little more clear.
Please do.
We have a contract with you. We're asking for Play by Design just to move forward on a temporary basis with some funds to move forward just to get me the information I need. After that point, we can move forward. They could be contracted to whomever, doesn't matter. But I mean, it does matter to you, obviously. But
it's going to
get
push
them started,
us past our timeline.
Yeah.
Because if we are waiting until the December 15th meeting to pass both Eustis and Play by Design, then it's in December before the holidays for both of those companies to be doing the work that is necessary to take us to bid. If we're waiting for Play by Design to first complete and go through the selections process and then hand it over to Eustis to come up with the construction documents, we will miss our window and the children could potentially be without a playground for over a year and a half. So we're looking for leeway. We're creative problem solving because it's $24,000 that we have in the bank with a company that we've already put under contract before to go from the theoretical that they've presented us with to the design documents that can then be handed to Eustis to utilize in their formal bid.
Let me ask you just a clarifying question. So do you have a separate contract other than the design day contract with Play by Design?
We do, we submitted it.
Okay.
We submitted it to the district.
All right. I'm not sure if I've seen that, but because I have the design day contract.
Yes, that was from April. So we
yes.
completed design day in June. And because we did not engage them on the next design phase at that point,
now we have it here.
Now we have it because we've gotten to the point where we have the funds to cover it and we feel confident where we are in the timeline process, with Eustis being where they are in their process, that if we can bring in Play by Design under JEF and the community board, that then puts us in a prime position to be able to move forward with our predetermined timeline.
with no liability to you. Because in the end, you'll have a contract moving forward after that.
Correct. And Eustis will be taking what was given to them as data. It's basically
data.
giving us a design.
Is advancing their
This is not for construction documents, it's just for, it's more.
So there is
design.
not a-
I mean, it's what,
I guess I'm trying to figure out why it wasn't part of the first.
because, well, we didn't know what we were gonna do. I mean, we've been very deliberate about being step by step, but I mean, this group has created a design already that we haven't paid for, we don't have a contract for. So, you know.
We need it to be official.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
to take it from what our pro bono engineers and designers have created. That then needs to go through Play by Design so that we can get the exact budget.
The specifics.
The specifics. So Daryl's going to be doing the land work. For all of the equipment, that would be what is selected with Play by Design. So we need
This
to
is the
take
structure.
The structures above the ground. So with Play by Design, they would be taking what was presented on design day to the community and putting it into hard terms as far as this structure, this swing, this bridge,
Yep.
this
Yep.
set of monkey bars or what have you.
And I can place.
And then he
Right.
will place that where it's safe to put on the earth.
Permittable.
Right.
But he cannot do that until we have gotten the.
This
scope
is
of design from
information
Play by
he
Design.
needs to make the.
I understand. I just, that would have been, the problem is the board can't vote on anything tonight because it wasn't on the agenda 24 hours in advance. It is not an emergency. It was not something that I understand that the kids being without it.
We submitted it on Friday.
I know, but Fridays.
It
Like,
it
can't it
isn't
be
because
done?
it was known about before. It's not an emergency. I'm telling you for the purposes of the sunshine law.
All right,
I'm not telling you
Let-
for any other reason.
I think we get the situation, so let's just see what we can do and create. I mean, we can't vote on it tonight.
Correct,
But
but we're curious if there could be other channels explored.
I think we can talk about,
Yeah,
we'll talk
because
about that.
it's
We'll
not
get,
gonna be
yeah,
will-
yeah.
right
We're
after
not gonna
tonight, but
resolve
if
it
we
here.
could, you
No,
know, at least
yes.
get a commitment from
Yes.
the board that they will look at channels to how to creatively problem solve so that we don't stall projects.
Yes, we can discuss that.
That's our goal.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I probably have the dumbest question of the night. Like,
Okay.
the, total uses here is like 1.75, but then the goal is 1.5. What's that discrepancy there?
Say that again?
The goal, budget number is
Budget that I have.
1.75 versus
Oh, yeah.
1.5.
Is that money that we want to trim down off of
Right.
I'm
the?
running this through the cost estimator that we hired. We did an exercise where we just took the numbers for the entire 4.5 million, reduced that ourselves, and now we're betting that with the cost estimating company that we hired just to see where we actually are. And again, if we can get that much money raised, we'll do that work. If we don't, then we might have to do some alternates.
Right, and that's why we're putting alternates in the plan, so
Right.
that if we have to cut stuff out, like, for example, there's, stormwater management, in there that is a fluff number. It may not be as much as we need, but we also apply for stormwater management grant. So if we get that money, that's great. That goes towards that line.
We've padded the estimated budget a little bit.
Yeah,
just
we put a
so
lot of
that
contingency in
if
there
it was
right
a
now,
worst case
because
scenario.
we're at a concept design level. We need to hold a lot of contingency in there right now. So that can get reduced
As
as
we
we
move,
move along
yes.
in the design process.
We'll true it up.
Okay.
We have the documents to support the cost.
If I could just, why do they have the retainer and the design day fee in this contract?
That is the second one. There was another one sent.
Okay.
We noticed that too, and we asked them to take
And
that
they-
out
and
because
they
they
did.
already paid that.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I just want to
Yes,
be
they reworded. it.
Yeah, because
There's a second
was a
one.
second one.
Okay, so I think we get what the challenge is.
Are
So
there any
we're-
other like nitty gritty questions?
I-
There was a lot submitted, so I
Yeah,
just want
I
to
don't
make
know
sure
if
that we're
there-
addressing everything that everyone asked unless
if
you
there
found it in the
other
slideshow.
questions that people have. I guess the only thing I was wondering about and is the initial plan was to turn, which has been scaled back, was that the field was going to be turned into the U10 soccer field. I just want to make sure that that's not going to be touched, correct? Right. So I just want to make sure it's like not
It's not getting any smaller. It's
it's staying as is, but which would take away the ability to have a T-ball field. So it was supposed to go from T-ball to soccer. So it's still the size. So I just
not going to be graded in a way
to yeah. So it could still be used for soccer, and it I guess the condition of it. I just want to make sure it's not like
Is there any
destroyed.
sport enthusiasts out there who this is super important to? If you've got a high school athlete and you would love for them to have practice fields that are up to your caliber, not your caliber, the district.
I don't have a
donate.
caliber.
That's where that
No,
money goes.
No, I guess my question is about the construction of the playground structure impacting the field in a way that it's a less optimal condition than when we started. Yes.
So, yeah, the condition of the field, we all know is terrible.
Yes.
So that's not state secret.
Yeah.
And it will likely get worse.
Yes.
Pardon me. Just from all the construction.
Yeah.
So I really believe like the fundamental problem with that field is it's just super compact.
Mhm.
And as much aeration that we do proactively every year, every fall, that core aeration, it's just not going down anywhere near deep enough.
Yeah.
So there are other machines that contractors can bring in that will do like a really deep aeration and try and get down, 5 or 6 inches. So I would probably not necessarily put that in the bid because then we don't really have control of who does it. Because it's certainly small enough work that we could just do it like based on quotes.
Yeah.
And schedule it after.
Well, that I do want to plan for that. Like if there's like I don't want there to be a big.
I've got a plan for that after aeration.
Okay,
A lot of top dressing and seating, but ultimately the field is used really hard.
Yeah.
And in a couple of years, it will probably look like this again until that's in.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's a plan to address whatever condition it ends up with in somehow.
And then I have a few other questions. The new version is the
the current elementary school garden staying? Is the Gaga pit staying? I don't really, I can't follow.
Gaga
does stay where it is.
The Gaga will remain in its current location. The question that was asked is, the landslides are going from the current fairy garden to the lower backdrop.
We talked about that.
We talked
You mean
about
the garden
that.
towards the ones out?
You're talking about the sustainability.
Yeah, that's stated.
Okay, so the sustainability committee is responsible for that garden, and in its current iteration, it will remain until the new construction begins. The existing garden planter boxes that could be moved have been moved to the courtyard on the high school side. We are planning to work in collaboration with the sustainability committee to move a new garden over to the area where the ponding currently is, so that we can utilize the rain downspouts and retention apparatuses so that it will water that, so the water will be used rather than ponding. We plan to fundraise in collaboration with the sustainability committee so that whatever goes in is something that's within their purview of what they feel they can utilize and maintain with the students. They kind of inherited the old sustainability garden, and it's not necessarily been doing super great in the fact that nobody owns it. Margaret Remich has been excellent at making it, be what it is, but we will be using the fence posts that surround that and any other composite fencing to use for the tot lot. So what will be remaining is just the shed and the free library that are there. And our hope is, because HSA, the Home and School Association, has expressed interest in having a toy brary rather than a library outside, where they will keep it stocked with balls and jump ropes and things like that that kids would want to use for recess. That would all be housed in the shed where it exists until we were to further fundraise and be able to put the gross motor area in years down the road. So we will be working with sustainability so that whatever new garden is created is within the purview of what they want to manage, rather than just telling them what their garden should be, that they should have a say.
All right, so I think we do you have a question? We have to move
I
on,
have
but
the quickest question, and it's so like minor comparatively in this big picture, but I'm just looking at your construction phase timeline and realizing that you're talking about construction at the beginning of the time that HSA is doing the red and blue fair, and
No, we will be taking down the current castle over spring break. That's what has already been delineated. We will not be breaking ground until after school has ended. It will not conflict with the red and blue fair.
Okay, you had mentioned already that you're in collaboration with HSA, and that's great. I just wanted to throw out hopefully you're communicating with HSA about
Yes.
having two.
I'm
people
actually on the
plan.
HSA board.
She's on the
Perfect.
Don't worry. We got it.
That's all.
okay. Thank you so much. Very helpful, informative. I think we had a good two discussions, so we will loop back on the outstanding issues. So thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So we have another discussion. We'll have discussion tonight. This is data discussion. So as a reminder, it's not a reminder, for anybody who was here in August, I think we kicked this discussion off in August, where there was a request from board members to, as we saw the nice data presentation today, the district has put a lot of time and effort and money and things into having data systems that can kind of track our students' progress and various different things. And we wanted to have a discussion about whether we should consider kind of memorializing some of that in policy. And so we asked Ms. Rusikoff to come up with kind of a list and kind of board members could add to it of data elements that we could potentially include in a policy, and then get some kind of feedback about, what a policy could look like. And then certainly would want to hear from the administration about what implementing such a policy might be like. So did you want to kick it off with your suggestions? Yeah, I can find it.
I was just thinking we could have a discussion to start talking about processing field and technology. Because I know that a lot of progress is made on data, having the data to make data decisions, and it's great sort of our general policy, which is the making data informed decisions. And we could just start seeing ideas. So I just put it in categories that occur to me, like enrollment data, curriculum data, academic data, fiscal data, facilities, program data, outcome data, and we even have the outcome data. And we have specific kind of data that we can track over time, that we have enjoyed tracking, or that we think have been beneficial so far, that we want to add to it. Then we can, if we want to, we can put that into policy and have that as our sort of regular yearly schedule going forward.
Oh. This table squeaks. For those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
So are there, so I think Nina mentioned a few different elements that we could be tracking. I guess the question is that a policy that we should consider? And I, you know, in thinking about it, don't want to make it so prescriptive. I think we want to say something to the spirit is the board wants to make data informed decisions. And these are the types of data, which we already collect and look at. We look at enrollment data every September, you know, so just kind of just putting a fine point on those things that we already do. And then saying, you know, every year we want to see like the presentation that Dr. Ortiz shared earlier, and something similar from the middle school, high school, that we want to see, you know, academic performance. And just, these are things that we kind of already do and we can ask for them anytime, but we think it's important to kind of put those things, because the board's going to change. And I don't know, the new board members might not like data as much as this board does. But we just, you know, I think it's, yeah. 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 Yeah.
I like to put a line underneath this because 4 years ago, these are goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. They're goals. It's not like we've been doing this forever. It's not like this is something that's just, you know, ingrained into like our practices. There are goals, and I think that the administration has done a really brilliant job over the past couple of years, and the teachers, of course, putting those goals in practice. And I think that this is a natural next step. I feel like, you know, I think that we're still kind of embarking on developing this culture, but I think we can codify this. At least this is something that we continue to value in our decision making. I think that that's a meaningful next step.
Justin, is this something you're seeing in other districts, that anybody's making a push to sort of codify?
I don't think I've seen it codified because, again, there are so many variables in terms of when you talk about, I mean, you talked about the data today, this evening. You had two different types of ELA and math, and from one source. Then you've got your PSSA data. Then you've got your, I mean, you just have so many different sources of each subset of information. I mean, you had financial information about sort of the snapshot of the district from the auditor this evening. You will get, I'm sure you'll be inundated with fiscal pictures from Lou as you go through the budget process. Maybe not you so much, Bridget, but the other. So there are a lot of this, as you notice, correct. Now it's the facilities, I think was something that, you know, you may want to facilities and your, if you were to say something like, we want to have a presentation on academic progress. We want to have a presentation on where we stand with curriculum, like where everything stands in the review process. So we can just have a snapshot. You could do that. But I'm not seeing it. The other thing I'll say is most school districts have a significantly more robust administration than you have. So there's a lot of institutional knowledge and memory, and sort of, you know, when they dust off the January agenda, they know what presentations they present in January. They dust off the February 2025 agenda in 2026. They're like, oh, okay, we're going to have these presentations. So some places have been doing that, and, you know, or when they get the school report cards and they get published, that's when those presentations happen. So some of it is it's practical. I mean, it's how things go. But the primary thing that I think you're doing differently now than you had been in the past is getting those academic progress and I guess maybe the school climate type information on a more cyclical, at least, you're getting several of the academic presentations per year. I think it's one of the climate survey type stuff once that takes place to compare it to sort of look at your trends. But I don't mean there's nothing that would prevent you from putting it in a policy. It's just trying to make it in a way that isn't so prescriptive to say, well, we're going to do this in the month of whatever, as opposed to saying the administration will present at least 2 presentations per year on student academic performance. Something like that.
And I wouldn't, to your point, I wouldn't want to say, and we're going to look at Ames Web and PSSA.
Yeah, no,
because
absolutely.
because those things will change over
Those
time.
things will
And so we
change.
want that to be whatever is the relevant academic measures at the time is what we want to be looking at, not specific
Or
things.
maybe we wanted to be like, we wanted to be like student growth. like
Yeah.
Internal data and then also external.
Yeah.
Achievement.
Yeah.
So
Do we have to make a policy to do that?
You
Or
don't-
do we have to set expectations that the board will receive these kinds of data from whatever sources we usually get them from? Is it to codify it? Do we have to create a policy or can we create expectations from the board?
Yeah, I just want to jump on this real quickly. I think that's exactly right. Like, this conversation's informed by our just work on the cell phone policy and how long that took and how much attention was given to that. We wouldn't want to do something that in 5 years might be completely irrelevant.
The way you codify things as a school board is through a policy or procedure. That's just, I mean, could you have an administrative, an AR under one of your policies? I haven't looked at where it would go, that says the administration is going to present the following. You'll have the right to review it. And if you think you should change it, change it. It doesn't have to be super detailed as to what's being presented, but technically that's how you codify things as a school board. It's either in policy or AR. If you put it in an expectation, it's not really codified for you can put it in in a superintendent's goals for a year, but again, that's not codifying it beyond that year.
And I think this is this is a board thing. This isn't something that's going to be implemented like in the classrooms. This is like the board making a statement about how it wants to make decisions. And I think that's where the idea for the policy, it doesn't have to be overdone. We don't have to spend 6 months working on it. And it could just be literally bullet points, but it's the idea of this is important to this board and we want to make a statement about it, really.
I know the district has like mission and vision, but is it unusual for the board to have their own specific mission statement or vision statement to sort of codify it in that larger scope of saying there's the mission of the district? Well, they should be the same, but it could be that the board has things that are more specific to what our.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that because I think that does create this appearance as though you're
Right.
divergent,
Yeah.
as though we're the board and we're over here and we're the district and we're that I think creates but again, I think there's a way to do this, and I think I can work with the administration to come up with some ideas as to how to make it a guiding document that is not so ironclad that it's going to be restrictive to the board and what it gets.
I think my only concern with anything we create is, I think to where you were going, it's important that any future board member also has an opportunity. I mean, people run for the board for all different reasons, and I think that's incredibly important. And I think it's incredibly important that individuals can keep their own independence while working in the collective of the district. So I have some concerns with kind of standard codifying statements and philosophies and missions that aren't necessarily actionable items. And So I think there's a fine line. I'm sure you guys will work it out, but I don't know.
Well,
If you said it could be an AR, we just have to figure out where, what it's attached to.
There could be again, I haven't looked through the policies to see if there's a place that it naturally fits. If there isn't, you could say, data presentations. The board charges the administration with coming up with an annual schedule of data presentations that will keep the board informed on, academic benchmarks and progress, finances, facilities.
I feel better about that because then it would be up to an individual future board member could say, I disagree with this, can we review it? Rather than kind of a general statement of the board will use data to be considered, right? Because I think there might be a board member who's like, I'm gonna see what the phase of the moon is and I'm gonna make my decision based on that. I hope the community wouldn't vote for them, but
but I think we've spent a lot of money investing in data systems. And
Inherently, it's part of our strategic plan.
Right.
I mean, let's just get back to the basics. That is their guiding document. We all agreed upon that with community, with administrators, with teachers. We spent a lot of money on that. It should be codified in some fashion, and it shouldn't be restricted, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't just be like
on a whim.
And I think it also helps for new people that come into the district to know what the expectations are. And
I think that others, for me, first it was like we had to wrap our heads around using more formalized data, and a lot of the presentations are like in the moment. And I think the next step for me personally is also not just in the moment, but showing us where we were, where we're at, where we're trying to go for. That's the part that I feel this policy would kind of bring together.
I don't disagree. I know I said I was going to try to keep this to 100 words so we can all watch the Eagles play. But
there's no Eagles.
We have a lot more discussions.
Well, I know. I guess philosophically, putting philosophical decisions in school board policy is challenging.
Is this a philosophical line, or is this saying this is the information that I think we should be like compiling so that we
But
can
I think the
consider it and
information
make
could
whatever.
change. I think saying that we
Well, I
can.
don't think you should say like aims at, like the administration can decide what kind of data system they want, whatever, but but us saying like, we need data compilation, we need, ongoing academic data, like show it, like, so that there's like progress and then we having a like quantitative.
I agree, and at risk of sounding like way, it's just there has to be space for somebody who doesn't agree with that to come onto the board and disagree with that. I don't
They can
disagree.
ignore it.
Yeah. Modifying this doesn't mean that you're putting it like first of
It's
all, I
not
mean, it would be
concrete
difficult
stone.
to argue that the work that we do shouldn't be based on our ability to show progress, which is data. But even if someone were on the board that didn't agree with that, saying that we are going to collect data and consider data doesn't mean that we are going to do a specific thing with that data. So you can have room for somebody who, and this is hard for me to personally imagine because it's not where I am. But you can have room for someone to say, I don't like this data. I don't think this data is valid and I don't think we should act on it. Then you have the opportunity to have a discussion still, but we're talking about making the board driven to collect and consider data. And that's really it. It's not about having like no room for differences of opinion about the value of the data and the direction that we should go as a result of the data. That is still there. So I think that there's still room for all of
We'll see what it looks like.
Well, yeah, so I think we could, Steve wants to say.
Oh, well, I mean,
Go ahead.
I think we all appreciate data. We're going to be considering a 2026 board meeting schedule that includes work sessions as well as our general meetings. I really appreciated Justin sharing the size of our administrative team and being sensitive to the fact that we have our building administrators here tonight. They'll be at plays, they'll be at sporting events, they'll be at literacy nights, they'll be at HSA nights, and trying to make sure that we come up with like a sensitive schedule that matches up with natural times in the school year where data is particularly important. Dr. Ortiz made his presentation look very easy tonight, but that there is a level of preparation that's required. And so I was thinking that maybe just in a very natural way through, not even through an administrative regulation, is for us to kind of look at the natural ebb and flow of a school year and try to get a sense of where those presentations would naturally fit. So just as an example, we have Mr. Cummings sitting in the back streaming this meeting. He's here and he's going to be presenting and filming next meeting in December 15th on AI with Mr. Rodoff and some teachers. The following month in January, Mr. Roller is going to be presenting on AP and college graduation pathways for, which is super interesting, and he can't wait to present on it. But I guess what I'm saying is if we're getting input, the sitting superintendent, whoever that may be, would be able to kind of set a calendar so that everybody would be able to kind of pick their spots. Beginning of the year benchmarking data for literacy. This is a great time of year to have that conversation. But you're all going to want to hear about Amplify at the end of this year, but it might not be as important in year 3 of the implementation to hear about some of those things because it's not a brand new program for us. And so I guess being a little bit more nimble, it would be where I would kind of land. But codifying is fine. I think that just becomes an expectation of the administrative team to follow through with the wishes of the board. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think it sounds like we'll go back and come up with like a couple proposals about how it could be, whether it's a policy or a calendar or something. But I think this takes a little bit of the pressure off the administrative team and also makes a statement about the board needs certain information. So we'll take some next steps and close that discussion. All right, we had the discussion. All right, so now we have like 10 more discussions. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. All right. So so some of these things we have to vote on, but some of them are just informational, right? So the student teacher calendar for 26, 27, do you want to say anything about that?
Sure. Yeah. As families are looking ahead to their summers, I guess, when we haven't even quite reached winter, we are considering the adoption or in review of a new school calendar for next school year. And as a result of Labor Day falling on Monday, September 7th, that the administrative team met and wanted to engage in an open discussion about the possibility of starting the school year here the week prior to Labor Day. That would mean that we would have a 4-day week starting on Monday, August 31st. We would have a 4-day week, so a 4-day Labor Day weekend, and then return on Tuesday, September 8th, and for another 4-day week, and that would be our second week of school.
And we are not voting on this tonight.
No, this is a discussion
We're introducing
only.
the topic. So if people want to, send us emails about how they love it or hate it, please do that. Send them to Steve.
Yeah,
Send them to
you can
Steve.
send them to me.
Send them to Steve.
Ultimately, we need to set aside a calendar. And just my experience and having been in other districts is that, and just being in education, that you get a lot more learning out of a child in August or September than you do in June. The school year starting after Labor Day lands us somewhere around the timing of this year, which is the 17th, 18th of 2027. This calendar starting prior to Labor Day would have us out somewhere around the 10th or the 11th. We would align, color days and all the special holidays. But ultimately, I thought it was important to have guidance from the board if we should look at a calendar option for before or after.
That makes sense.
And would this change like be for every year in the future? This would like,
Well,
if it
if you're
works.
asking me my opinion, yes, I
Yes.
think it should be for
This
every
is
year
what
after.
most districts
I am
around here
sitting
do.
as an interim superintendent. I'm worried about 1 year. But in my opinion, school should always start the week prior to Labor Day, simply because of past practice. Something else to consider, that there's a lot of energy, whether we love them or hate them, around state testing. By starting school earlier, we get to know our learners earlier. We get 4 to 5 additional school days prior to the testing window that usually occurs somewhere around day 145 of a school year. So 147. So by starting a little bit earlier, we get to know our learners earlier. We get to get interventions in place earlier. And also that 4-day week is a nice entree into
Soft start.
knowing routines and establishing relationships and norms in the building. And then families still get to experience the 4-day Labor Day weekend.
And
But
it's impossible to find camp at the end of the summer. Like, I don't, it's not a problem for me anymore, but I remember that was grandma camp was my only option.
I have a question. Do we have any knowledge of Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah and how they fall and how that would impact us first couple of weeks, and whether that would make it better or worse?
turns out that Rosh Hashanah is a weekend in September of 2026. Yom Kippur, I believe, does fall during the week, but but Rosh Hashanah would start on, I think, the Friday evening of one weekend.
But I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure how that translates. Yom Kippur is Sunday to Monday, the 25th.
Well, it's
Right.
Instead of the 2 that we had this year.
Monday the 21st.
So, yeah,
Okay.
it looks like it's just the Monday.
And when would we have to vote on the new calendar?
Well, I guess with some direction, like we can provide a draft and make it available for review at the December 15th meeting.
Okay.
If that's,
All right, why don't you
so
want
there's an openness to look at a week, the 4 days prior.
I'm open to it. I think from a parent perspective, the sooner you make the decision and also solicit feedback. If you were asking me in February if this would be a good idea, I'd be like, absolutely not. They all have both camps. That's not really fair. I think it's a good idea. And my question is, what is going to be the feedback from the parents who have potentially already made next summer's plans? And if we can't roll this out this summer, if it gives you more than enough lead time for the next school year, I think we need to be open to the community feedback about this, about things that may have already been set from a family perspective.
So would
And how do we get perspective from our staff? I guess is my other question.
Yeah.
Let's see what the community says to us over the next few weeks. I think a review is great.
Yeah.
To
This is
review
how we have the
in December,
discussion.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure if it's not appreciated.
We'll hear about it.
Yes, we will.
Also, if it is, we'd like to hear some things appreciated. So if you like this, let us know.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
put
I
it in
gotta
the,
know.
we'll put it in the, okay. All right. So proceed with an option.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. So the next item, so we have 2 tonight, and this is a little bit different for us because typically we put, a recommendation on the agenda, and it's the recommendation from the school district. But in this case, because it's we're engaging a superintendent search firm, and this is a job of the school board to do, we have to deliberate on it in public. So I'll set the stage. We got proposals from 4 search firms. All were actually very excellent. We liked them. It was the PSBA, which is the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, the MCIU, which is the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, and then 2 kind of professional search firms that were Hazard something or other, and McPherson. Very interesting proposals. I think this board and we read their proposals. We also all interviewed them together, and for the most part we were all on those calls. So we spent a lot of time over the last few weeks thinking about the options, they're, you know, they're different. The IU and PSBA are kind of more know Pennsylvania and kind of know the, you know, local area. There's cost differences too, where the professional search firms would have kind of a national reach. So we have to, as a board now, in this right now, make a decision about which one we want to choose. And when Justin, tell me how, if somebody's like, I propose we vote on something, or do we have the discussion and what do we do?
You can
We don't
start
usually
with
do
a
this.
discussion. I mean, technically, you'd probably have somebody make a motion, but you don't have to. If you want to have a discussion at first to say, I want to go with so-and-so and see if people are okay with it, you can do it that way instead of having to vote up, have somebody recommend a firm and then vote them down. Do that 4 times and then get nobody.
Yeah. I do, and I will say they were all really good. And it's really, I think for this board, the things that were really important were community engagement, and they all had really good community engagement plans. Costs, certainly, you know, and just kind of how we felt like we could work with them and would they be responsive and, you know, kind of collaborative with us. So
I just want to say, like, for the public or whatever, we did interview them extensively about the and ask, you know, what they would add to that. Were they doing just surveys, or were they going to talk to people and focus groups and give them music?
yeah, that was important to us.
Yeah.
So anybody want to make a proposal?
I thought they were all great. I think that the PSBA, their area of expertise lied in other parts of Pennsylvania rather than our corner of southeast Pennsylvania. I think the Montgomery County Intermediate Union has got a ton of experience in that regard. We've got a relationship with Montgomery County Intermediate Union. They know us, they know our situation. That being said, the 2 private firms, McPherson and Hazard, I was very impressed by the extent to which they got to know us as a district. They've been watching all of our school board meetings.
And still wanted to talk to us.
Yeah. They've been watching, and I think this is good for the public to know, is that people watch these meetings.
Yeah.
And people want to know what's going on in Jacobstown. These 2 firms did that. They were able to cite back to us things that people said in moments that happened.
It's so diplomatic.
In a really insightful way. And yeah, I think that for me, like the Pennsylvania School Board Association became less of a consideration once I saw the others. I was a little bit more impressed with where the others were coming from. And I think that I like the cost of Montgomery County Intermediate Union. It's free.
It's a little bit of cost for advertising, but there's no, the other, and let me just say the range from PSBA is about 15,000 up to, could be up to 30,000 for one of the professional services firms. And the MCIU would be in the couple thousand, $2,000-$3,000 range.
I did appreciate the fact that the PSBA provided the opportunity to run an ad with them regardless of whether we chose them.
Yeah.
They maintain a rather robust website for people who are interested, and I think it was about $750.
Yeah.
And when we were doing that interview, as soon as they said that existed, I was like on there trying to get a sense of what they're advertising. I was impressed with their ability to their visual sort of graphic kind of opportunity in it. And I was sort of struggling with, does that matter? And then I thought, well, from an engagement standpoint, it was impressive the way that they could make their process very clear cut to someone in an easy way. And I appreciated that. But like you, I think that the more I think about the private firms, the one big push there for me is, despite the greater cost, is that they seem to go much deeper into trying to vet somebody from all angles. The fact that not only would we have the opportunity to consider a candidate, but we would have the opportunity to consider a candidate's engagement with their staff that they supervise and the staff that they've been supervised by and the staff that, and the community that they've worked with, and that we would be paying more, but we would be getting a clearer picture of really what we might expect with a candidate. And so I find myself struggling with the strengths, and there's pros and cons to all four of the firms that we interviewed, and being obviously very interested in being cost conscious, but at the same time, if we have the ability to pay for some heavy vetting as far as exactly what we're looking for in a candidate, and how deep someone can go towards what it would really be like to have the experience to have that candidate be our superintendent. That's really where I'm struggling. If money were no object, then I think
And
it would
it
be
is.
clear, but it is, right. And so it's a matter of, this is something that is so important to the community. We've heard over and over again how important the community feels that having the right fit for a superintendent is, and we've heard that across the board, and we share that, and I think that we agree that this is probably the most important job that we have as board members, and so it's that real struggle.
NCI said that they sort of promised the same 360-degree view of people. They said they would largely do it through their network.
I think that's the difference for me. I actually think, and I was unable to make one of the search firms in the FDA, but for me, the IU, to me, which was my preferred before, knows the district. We use their services. I think we would benefit greatly from one of the search firms if we were a district looking outside of southeastern Pennsylvania with a much broader reach, which I don't think I am. And I think the MCIU, from a network perspective, already knows the performance, the background, the experience of most likely candidates. I'm not going to say we might not see a wild card, but the most likely candidates. And I think they have hands-on experience in knowing the district, the programs that we need support on, where we have opportunities. For me, that made all the difference. And knowing Pennsylvania, but the search firms were great. I think they're great for a district like Philadelphia, or, they talked about filling Los Angeles, one of them, Los Angeles School District. Or not Los Angeles. We are likely not importing someone from, Greenville, Alabama to come and
We're not gonna
manage
import
our
anybody
district.
in New York,
And to me, that makes all the difference.
And maybe, Patrick and Lisa, since you were on the IU legislative committees, that it's with the IU presentation, it looked like the team and the procedure have changed
Yeah.
a lot since
Yeah.
because we did use them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you knew, I know
Well, the
Regina
leadership,
Speaker, the
there's
leadership's
been a
changed.
number of changes at the
Yeah.
EIU since the last time.
So I mean, that's why I was really comfortable with their presentation, since I could see that they had made improvements to their process.
Yeah, they went a lot deeper. Than they did 10 years ago.
Larissa, I think that were it not for the very next item in new business, I think that cost wouldn't be a concern as much, but given what's coming up, I think that cost needs to be a top 3 factor.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And if we can get that kind of in-depth vetting for $3,500 as opposed to $35,000, I think, given that one of our duties as a board is fiscal responsibility, we kind of got to go with the $3,500 people.
I think the other thing is the MCIA was we asked them a lot of questions, and would you do this and would you do that? And they never said once no.
Yeah,
They were
right.
like very receptive to tailoring it, where some, although I liked the private firms and they were very structured and we do this, we don't have the ability to really say, like, I liked your structure, but I want you to do this in the stage. It's kind of very scripted. So with the MCIU, they were willing to take our feedback, which was good. I did like, they talked about tabletop exercises.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
They were the
Yeah.
only firm that talked about doing some tabletop exercises with interviews. I thought that was
Yeah,
a
and
different
having the
perspective.
staff
And I-
kind of lead the interview. which
yeah, and I did like that.
Yeah.
I was on the same page as you, Nate, that, I was impressed by PSBA, but I felt that their niche was a little bit further out than where we are.
That might be a testament to how closely our IU works with our districts
Mhm.
as compared to the rest of the state as well, which is a selling point for the IU.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think from the fact that the IU was willing to listen to our questions, or can you do this? And it was yes, that we could be more specific about in this step of the process, we want you to do X, Y, and Z. And perhaps there ends up being a little bit more of a cost if we go that route. But
not a lot.
Well, the IU also has sort of well, they have an interest in, in the sense that
Yep.
that we work with them. And so they sort of, beyond just our contracting with them, they have, they will then be working with our superintendent to collaborate with interest in our own district and with the IU. And so that's something that makes them unique as well. Not that we don't work with the PSBA, but not
Yep.
nearly in the same way.
Well, the other two, I mean, the other two would go away and they would never have to interact
Right.
with us.
Well, some of them did have like a follow-up.
Yeah, but that you have to pay for that.
Yes.
All right, so are we comfortable with moving forward with IU?
I'd like to propose that we move forward with the idea.
So is that a motion?
I will motion.
Well,
So-
I
Let's-
I would like to see us contract with PSBA for their extra
For the advertising?
advertising, and I don't know.
Can we,
That was
how do we do
something,
that?
again, that we could do regardless, and I don't know if that needs to be part of this discussion.
There could be
If
an
people are
IU
interested in that, do we
associated
feel
for
that
that
that's worth
pricing.
the extra
Yeah.
money to do that, and how do we structure a motion to have that additional?
You don't have to do that
Right.
yet because you're not advertising yet.
Right.
You're doing your community engagement first. So, and I don't know what's involved in PSBA's, MCIU's $3,500 of cost. I don't know if.
It's
they've already-
advertising.
I don't know if they've already, I don't know if
Include
that's,
that.
they may already.
yeah, that may be
they
baked into that cost. I
So
think
whatever,
that's the-
but whatever we agree on today it will be contingent on a contract that they come up with and we could
Yeah.
put that in there. So,
Or you say it's this and then you pay an extra $750 or whatever it is to PSBA to advertise it there. I mean,
All
that you can do at a later moment as an add-on. It doesn't have to be part of this motion.
so do we have a motion? Oh, so,
Can I give it a shot? And then Patrick can say whether I understand
oh,
his motion?
sure,
Yes.
sure, sure,
Is your
Justin.
motion that you are recommending that the board approve an agreement subject to solicitor review for superintendent search services with Montgomery County Intermediate Unit in the amount of $0 for professional services, plus reimbursable expenses of approximately $3,500.
That's exactly what I was saying.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
Do I have that's a motion,
And a
a
second.
second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. Oh, that's great. The next one, approval of special counsel. Every once in a while, we need help beyond what Justin can provide, and that's what this item is for. Do I have a motion to accept item 7.3?
7.3.
Wow. Can't read anymore.
Your eyes
12.3.
are glazing over.
So moved.
12.
Second.
Can I just ask a quick question? There's not an initial fee. This is on an as-needed basis.
Correct. Neither one of these are pay as you go when you need.
We're just approving the ability to pay as we go, should we need.
That is correct.
I just want to clarify.
Can I have a motion to accept?
So
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 12.4 is not voting. It is me appointing, what do I do? I'm appointing Patrick as the nominating committee for the
Organizational meeting.
organizational meeting on December 1st.
Great. Thank
Do
you.
do you accept?
I accept.
I don't care. I won't
As
be.
long as it's buildings that can't be vote nominated.
No,
President.
You know that. You can just lose the paperwork.
No, I appreciate it. Yes.
All right.
I will email everybody.
Item
And to remember to get the new folks.
Yeah.
All right, item 12.5, we thought it would be a good idea to put together a campus planning committee charter. This is to help with our various projects, such as the Salva project and fundraising related to that. We've appointed people to this committee. Well, we're proposing to appoint people. And also this was kind of the Legacy Park Steering Committee kind of charter kind of gave us this idea that we could, do something similar. So we have Steve, we have Megan for now, and then Megan will be a community member in the future. We have Jason Tucker, who will be joining the board in December. And also Chris Graves, who was a former board member and has and does development work and has been helpful in our previous iterations of the alumni committee and JEF. So we think it's a good small group that can work together to kind of continue to move the district objectives around the campus forward. So do I have a motion to accept the campus planning charter? Nina wrote it.
Discussion, just how does this chart committee interact with Legacy Park? Like,
They're separate, but we can at some point bring them together, but they're two different goals, two different missions. And they should interact, but through the board, like both of these groups kind of, the board makes decisions about the school district, not this committee, the campus planning committee.
That's how I refer to business. So,
All right.
But I think this committee is really important, specifically looking at the Salva project.
Did I have
The discussion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion passes. That's the most new business we ever had.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for
Committee liaison, committee liaison reports.
We had a great HSA meeting. When was it? Last Wednesday. I missed the one in October. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Ortiz for attending. It is really nice having you there. Before I was fielding concerns from the district, and it's just so great having you and your expertise at that meeting. I think you did a wonderful job with your principal's report. Really big success with the Jogathon, more money raised than ever. I think I'll just put it sum it up that way. Outdoor movie night was awesome. A lot of great parties, Halloween parties. Some upcoming events, Glow Dance this Friday. Thank you to Carolyn Brinkley and Jen Connors for setting that up. My kids are excited for it. Big called Kids Care for Conferences. So there's going to be childcare provided during conferences. So you can come for your little ones. There'll be adult supervised, volunteer parents. The hope is to have some high school kids there too, to kind of help play the little ones. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Now, if people have high school kids who might want to volunteer to do that, how would they?
I would say go through Juliana Graham, HSA. So email HSA board and president, and then they'll figure out how to get your kids volunteering to help out with that. Or if you yourself want to volunteer to help out. Potluck dinner for teachers for conferences, and Diskin is the chair for that. So if you want to contribute to the potluck for teachers for conferences. And some other quick things. December 8th, holiday shop, 19th, hot chocolate. January 17th is going to be indoor movie night. That's the hope. And the parents plan for 24th, January 24th for parents social.
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
When will we redo the assignments? Because we have a lot of people that are doing that.
December. It can be done on December 1st if the new president is ready. Otherwise, it would take place on the 15th at the first regular meeting.
President will be ready.
I'm happy to collect any preferences if folks have preferences.
Committee preference.
Email you.
Email me.
Okay.
If you have a preference to serve or not serve on a committee, I cannot guarantee.
So that'll be the
result.
president's decision.
It will be the president's decision, but I'll be happy to provide the future president with.
So we would
Lot
like to
of
see.
power. It's a lot of power.
I can power for like 15 minutes in the next meeting. That's about it. We're all better off.
So the board would like to see these meetings on the agenda, these appointments on the agenda
No,
for December
not-
1st?
Not for December 1st.
I think December 15th is
Okay.
fair.
I'd like
because-
to be prepared on December 1st.
They've been on the agenda for December, for the organizational meeting and then been deferred to the first business meeting, I think, almost exclusively, except for maybe, well, for when there's new board members coming on, I should say.
When there's new board members and a new president,
Right.
which there absolutely will be.
How many times is that here?
People are gonna nominate
Carolyn.
Nothing really for Eastern. The annual dinner is Wednesday night. I cannot attend, but we do have Lisa, Nancy, and Katie.
Great.
And Steve, who
Good.
are going to be in attendance. And then since I'm also the PSBA liaison, I did attend a seminar on an onboarding program for new board members. So new board members, I think we're gonna do a little onboarding.
It's super helpful. It really is.
It
In all
is.
seriousness,
It is.
it is
Yeah, no, it
incredibly
is.
helpful.
Yeah, yes. So we'll
I
be.
might wanna do it again. I mean-
You should.
Okay.
You should.
So be reaching out. I don't know at what point our newly elected members get their like in town email
Is it
address.
virtual or gonna be in person?
Well, the actual onboarding, we can figure that out. That's something, we can do as a board ourselves, but the required training for new board members, they have an option. It can either be virtual or it can be in person. They have a few in-person sessions in different parts of the state that you can attend.
And the IU usually does a training. I think.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
And Lisa, you have to do more training on your second term. So.
Don't worry.
You didn't realize.
So, yeah.
She looked way more happy about that than she
Returning
should.
members, yeah.
All right, Jeff.
JF, I may have said this last.
Oh, and
time.
Nancy's on the board, Nancy, I can't believe I forgot you on the campus planning committee.
Yeah, I
I'm
am.
terrible. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
I may have said this before, but I'll say it again because it's wonderful. We earned $715.20 on our annual clothing drive. The board also voted unanimously to place 3 very dilapidated picnic tables. We did that last year. They were $1,500 a piece, and the board voted unanimously to do that because our balance is in good shape. I also sent an inquiry to Tom and Chris Kaptalis for nominations for junior students for student ambassadors for JEF. Got 2 good names back. We'll be reaching back out to give you what the duties and responsibilities for student ambassadors are. It's a way to have student voice on JEF, and they also have some functions that they can perform for us, particularly around social media, and it's also something they can add to their college essays that they've learned how nonprofits work. And we're working on Giving Tuesday and how we're going to maximize fundraising for that.
I had a IU legislative committee meeting. The next board meeting is on until the 19th, but we had a meeting with Representative Matt Bradford. There was a lot of discussion about the budget, as you can imagine. A couple points that are worth noting. The conversation that we did have was around cyber charter reform, and what I was hearing through that committee meeting was that they believe that there will be some sort of cyber charter reform, but you know, there was emphasized that there's give and take, so it won't be, that like, that statewide rate that people have been asking to try and do, but I think that there will be some progress, and, you know, the general mood was that people in places that were not necessarily on board in the past are starting to see the impact on their budget. The other thing that is worth noting, you know, we had a long discussion, so I'm trying to hit the highlights here. There was a lot of discussion too about SEPTA and how that, you know, like just the whole conversation about the budget and comparing school districts and SEPTA, which is just Southeastern PA, and how that is being impacted. But in the end, there was optimism around the possibility of passing a state budget soon, which was good to hear. And what I heard specifically was that from a budget perspective, from a state perspective, what they were looking for districts to provide in advocacy was schools are going to need to show the results of investments in education. So there, you know, we had this data discussion before, but that really came up as part of not just important for us and our work here with this district, but for us to be able to advocate for increased funding statewide, to be able to say that dollars equal progress in some way and be able to show that in a very specific way. They want us to be able to say, like, money invested in curriculum programs lead to increases in test scores, and therefore we need more money to invest in our curriculum programs. We also, as a committee, talked about how we've had so many conversations as a committee, meeting with legislators to talk specifically about the budget, that we need to come up with something else to talk about with them. And you'll be happy to know that I was like, how about we talk about some of the assessment appeals that have been having difficulty with us? And they were like, that sounds great. So hopefully in the future, we'll be talking about that more at a county level. And there was certainly some conversation with regard to people countywide and from Matt Bradford and, you know, from the state legislative standpoint, that was a real issue. You should also know the legislative breakfast is going to be on March 27th. So if you're keeping track, and what they're hoping to do is to change the location of that event. It has been held in the past couple of years at the IU. It's very tight in that room. If you have a legislative breakfast, what they would like to try and do is increase student participation. And so they've got this Voices for Education program that has been very popular, and they want not only to allow for more space for students, but more voice for students. So they're hoping that some of the speakers at this event will be more student voices. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's that.
Thank you. Sorry, I want to go back up. I have to give a shout out to Elizabeth Malone, who was one of my classmates from class 67. She gives us $10 a month.
Thank you, Elizabeth Malone.
Thank you.
Bridget.
I got nothing from the borough. I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's been a delightful 4 years. I look forward to seeing you in a non-perfect.
You're gonna miss you, Miss Grace. I'm gonna miss you, Jackson.
So we have a headline committee. Just one last thing about Legacy Park, as she's leaving, Kelly was telling me, the money, you mentioned the money, and some of the questions from before were how much money did the district spent, how much money was Legacy Park spent. So the district has so far spent zero money on that. The repairs were funded by JEF, and they have been funding the design work, and so we have $0 here on this project so far. I think that's what she thinks.
Yeah, so you don't have any the safety, no, not the anything, the wellness and the safety. Okay, all right. Okay, oh, Katie.
We're gonna have to back up to 4.8 for a quick second. But then maybe at the next meeting, can you go over, there's some brand new construction or renovation on properties that are now, that went from exempt to back on the tax rolls, and now they're reassessed for the negative. So why is 821 Homestead a decrease in assessed value? It says change reason appeal. And 505.
Yeah, they appealed they filed an assessment appeal on their interim increase and were awarded a reduction from the interim increase.
What was, do they tell us what their, what their logic is behind that?
No, I mean, there's a hearing held, just to be, so there's a hearing held on all of these. And we go to the hearings and they generally present appraisals. I don't have 821 Homestead. I'm trying to look for the date of that.
It says the new assessment rate, July 1st, 2025.
But we can look into it. I don't have that one off the top of my head, but I can, so just the same,
505 York.
no. 505 York, we'll be talking about in a few minutes.
Okay.
We'll talk about some of these things in executive session. Okay, so anything else? Can I go to comments? Comments from members of the public and staff on non-agenda items. Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. No, you can say, you can talk about the agenda. Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want. It's whatever you want. Yeah, say your name and address, and you have 3 minutes, and we'll tell you if you start to run long. Okay.
278 Mather. Something else we wanted to say about the money is we had a question because you were wondering who was going to pay for the tearing down of the Capitol. Because we had different, people have said different things about, like, we would have to pay for it as Legacy Park, or the district was going to pay for it. In my opinion, right? I got to say.
Yes, you can say, you can say your.
It's going to be, like, it was going to be done anyway before Legacy Park was created as a community park.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your opinion. Professionally and respectfully. Good job. You can do it. Okay, seeing no other comments, I'm closing the comment section. I personally agree with you, but I don't know that decision has been made. So stay tuned. All right, we are going to adjourn to executive session for confidential personnel matters and property reassessments. That's it. Come on.